This is the new deluxe form of Empires of Arcana. In it, each player becomes a warlord in a fallen world, struggling to become emperor as they rebuild the empire across the continent. Each turn, the players move their troops, expand their borders, and build new, more powerful structures and units. The players also have magic at their command and can cast powerful spells across the world at their rivals, as well as affect the outcome of each individual battle. But the players are not just competing against each other. Savage goblins now control much of the wildlands, moving in vast numbers across the world. When enough have gathered, they build a new warren from which to launch additional attacks on civilization. Warlords must carefully balance their schemes against their rivals with the need to keep the goblins in check. Given too much room to grow, the goblins may take over the world and win the game for themselves. Once a paper counter game, it has been remade into one of laser-cut wood. The beautiful red plywood box has been designed to perfectly hold all of the game's components. The game boards are also made of laser-etched wood and are solid and heavy so as to not move around. The laser etching process creates a unique look for the game board with a beautifully defined map showing the 50 territories of Arcana. Though the process is time-consuming, it creates a look unique to any gaming library. Empires of Arcana is a game for 1 to 6 players. The box contains over 700 playing pieces, including the 6-player armies, neutral structures, goblins, warrens, money, magic, territory cards, dice, and victory points. All are securely held in the compartmentalized wooden box, making it extremely easy to unpack and repack. Most of the pieces are also laser-cut wood, painted and sealed to last the ages. The structures in the game serve many roles. They can hold territory, generate income, allow the training of new troops, and offer up defense against invasion. Towns can be built in any territory that your troops control. For 4 gold, they generate 1 gold per turn and kick out 2 defending infantry when attacked. Castles are upgrades of towns and cost 10 gold in addition to replacing the town. They create 3 income per turn and defend with 6 infantry. They are also the structure that allows the training of dragons. Wizard towers are neutral structures and can exchange hands through conquest. They cost both 5 gold and 5 mana to produce, but allow the training of wizards and project sorceries far across the world. They also give an income of 2 mana each turn and defend with 2 wizards. Gates are also neutral structures, but do not train troops or defend. Instead, they allow a warlord to teleport armies across the map, leaping over territories to strike deep into their opponents' empires. They can even allow troops to be summoned directly into battles, turning the tide when all seems lost. Infantry are the backbone of armies. Cheap to produce, they can be built at any town or castle. They only have an attack of 2, meaning they must roll a 2 or less to defeat an opposing unit. Cavalry are swifter, more powerful units. Though more expensive, they can also be built at towns or castles. They can move through 2 territories per turn and have an attack of 3 or less. Wizards can only be built at wizard towers. Though they only move 1 territory per turn like infantry, they are twice as effective with an attack of 4 or less. They are also immune to attack spells and cannot be harmed by firestorms or lightning bolts. Dragons are the most powerful units and can only be built in castles. They cost 3 gold to train, but can fly 3 territories per turn and have an attack of 5 or less. Their speed allows them to threaten large areas at once with unmatched ferocity. At the start of the game, each player has 6 territories they can choose from to place 4 towns, 12 infantry, and 4 cavalry. The goblins also start with warrens and troops on the board. All empty spaces get marked as unexplored. When a player first enters that territory, they roll to determine if goblins are present. Turns go very quickly, with players taking income, taking their actions, and buying new structures and troops. Which brings us to the goblins. Goblins have an attack of 2 or less, equaling infantry. They appear randomly each turn and can gather into waves of green, smashing into empires. If enough gather together, they build a warren that allows the goblins to make additional attacks each turn. The players can attack the warrens, which will have between 3 and 18 goblins in them. Should the player defeat the warren, it is removed and the player gains half as much gold as there were goblins, plus a victory point. However, if the goblins ever get to 11 or more warrens, they win. Here is an example of a goblin turn. The goblins draw 1 card in succession for every warren on the board, with a minimum of 3. They first draw Lothian and roll a 5, so 5 goblins appear there. They then draw Taurus Hills and roll a 4, but gain 2 extra goblins because it is next to a warren. The adjacent unengaged goblins also move into the territory, so now there are 11 goblins in Taurus Hills. For their third card, they draw Minos Hills and roll a 2. 2 goblins appear there, which does not sound so bad. Between the town and the infantry, there are 4 units to defend. Unfortunately, the 11 goblins in Taurus Hills are not engaged, so move in to help their brothers attack Minos Hills. With a 13-4 advantage, there's really only one way this can end. The goblins kill the defenders and destroy the town. Because there are still 11 goblins in the territory, at the end of the turn they form a new warren. This may give the goblins an extra attack each turn, and gives goblin attacks in any adjacent territories another +2 bonus for their numbers. However, Red is ready for revenge. They build 4 cavalry in West Seta, and 2 infantry and 2 wizards in Atlas Spires. On their next turn, they strike back, moving the 12 units in to fight the warren. Most likely, the warren will generate 11 defenders, which are not likely to be a match against the much superior Red forces. Most likely, Red Warlord will lose a few attackers, but destroy the warren. As a reward, they will gain 1 gold for every 2 goblins that they killed in the warren, and a victory point for destroying it. Warlords can also earn victory points by having an income of at least 30 and 5 or more greater than any other player. They can earn a victory point by conquering at least 6 territories through combat in turn, or they can gain a point by controlling the most wizard towers of at least 3. A player can also win by controlling over half of the map, or by eliminating all other players, if you want to play it old school. Empires of Arcana is now available at the Thanes Games Etsy store. The rulebook is also available for download at the Thanes Games website. It can play up to 6 players, and is even challenging as a solo game. Its high-quality pieces and beautiful box make it an instant collector's item. It will only be produced for a limited time, so hurry to get yours now.